As an athlete, if you're lucky, there comes a time, perhaps a few moments in your career, and if you're really lucky, maybe a few matches when you're going to surpass expectations, you're going to, defy all odds and come out a winner. When we talk about scripted careers, the one name that comes to mind is, of course, the biggest tennis player in our country, Sania Mirza, the 2015 women's doubles Wimbledon champion. She's joining me. Sana, your career has had that kind of path, isn't it? Almost a mystical hand, it seems like, is driving your career. And even more so after you're coming back after winning the Wimbledon crown, exactly the same place you started your big Grand Slam journey in 2003. You won the junior girls doubles title there, and 12 years later, you have your fourth Grand Slam.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it kind of fits well because that's where it all even more fewer lucky people get to winning all the other biggest tournaments except French Open. It was our second slam together. So no, and the amount of people, I mean, forget like, just people from India, but like when I came off, Roger tweeted saying what an epic final, because the next day when I went back, because Martina was playing her mix the next day, and when I it had that, spirit, it had emotions, it had, happy, sad, everything.
Even the roof came up.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, at 5-all, as soon as, whenever someone thought this person's going to win, something else was happening. And then at 5-all, when we finally came back, it could have shifted very quickly, the momentum, because we came back inside, and for half an hour, I mean, it's a long time, half an hour, especially when everything's going your way, it can very easily just change again. So, we were just trying to stay focused. That's what we tried to do. We were like, all I wanted to do was put the first return in as soon as we went in. I mean, I was like, let's make the return, and then,
then we'll see what happens. But can you tell us a little bit more about the build-up to that finale? Obviously, you are the top seeds. As you said, you were facing the second seeds. Two players that you perhaps know very well on the court. You had beaten them in two big finals, the first two tournaments you and Martina played together. What was the build-up like, and did you expect such a tough fight from the second seeds in this
one? To be very honest, I mean, sure, we were confident that we were the better team because we were playing better and we'd beaten them quite comfortably, the last two times we played, but we knew that grass was probably their preferred surface because it kind of negates our biggest strength, which is our returns, because on grass court you can't make as many returns even if you want to. I think it's tough to lose a final, but to lose a final from being up 5-2, but also having said that, they won a quarterfinal being down 5-1 match point. So, that's how tennis goes. That's how tennis goes.
But it must have been very, very difficult for both of you to keep your wits about yourself and keep your nerves in check, especially because you were behind in most of the match, isn't it? How did you guys, what did you talk about in between? And I know you were smiling a lot, and so that was kind of negating some of the nerves or the pressure, but...
Well, not really. I mean, yeah, sure, we were smiling, but I mean, we wanted it as bad as anyone else. But, to be honest, we were playing pretty good, and we were unlucky to be down that break. It was just one break, and I mean, sure, we could have played a better game, but we didn't. But hey, in 2.5 hours, there's going to be a game that you won't play as well. Not probably in that much detail, but that was the whole feel of things. And that's why we were smiling, because every time she made a great shot or I made a great shot, we would actually smile about it because we were actually enjoying ourselves. As hard as it is to make someone believe how you can enjoy such a pressured situation, it was amazing because we actually were enjoying being in a situation that gave us, we felt like we were on a stage and the spotlight was on us, especially when we came at 5-all. And I think we showed that when it mattered the most, we came out, all guns blazing. So yeah, it was an amazing feeling. I mean, regardless of the result, even if we would have lost,
it was a great finale either ways, isn't it?
That feeling would have never gone. I mean, that we experienced that. We walked on at 5-all and we had goosebumps. We really did. And that's why we were laughing too, because I said, I have goosebumps, and she said, me too, and we started laughing. And we looked behind and they looked so dejected. And it actually was a good feeling, right? To see your opponents not feel as good as you are. To go at 5-all in the third is a pretty good feeling.
Were you nervous when, going up to the match, as you started the match, maybe the first few games?
Nina's been at Wimbledon final a couple of times before, if I'm not wrong. I think with Zvonareva once maybe, and a few years ago. So she also was actually playing really well. I think me and Makarova were struggling a bit with our nerves. which is understandable because just before, actually not just before, but the morning of the match, I was talking to Mahesh, and I had a message from Mahesh when I woke up actually, and so he said, "How are you feeling?" That was a message, and I said, "Well, you know," I was like, "I feel it today. The night before, I wasn't nervous at all," and I said, "I wasn't nervous last night, but I'm feeling it a bit today." And he said, "Well, that's good, because if you weren't, we would have had to make you feel nervous, because it's abnormal not to feel nervous." But then I think as I, you know, by about 3-4 in the first set, I was fine. It took me a few games, but now I know you're fine.
Yeah.
So, but I think that I picked up, and in fact, under pressure, we both picked it up really well. In that second set, we did well to stay ahead the whole set, keep holding serves. I think we were just focusing on trying to hold because they were serving so well. And then in the third set, we got away, that one break got away, but we kept trying to push, and we knew that at some point we're going to get a second serve. I mean, hopefully, and I did at deuce at 5-3. So.
Would you call this the greatest, you know, match you've played because of the occasion? I know you've played great singles matches as well, and you've won obviously 3 Grand Slams before. But the entire atmosphere, the the electricity in this being centre court at Wimbledon, as far as the stage is concerned, would you say this is one of the greatest matches?
Yeah, one of the, for sure. I mean, I think all of us, I mean, after the match, I saw Vesnina and she said, yeah, it was a great match. I mean, regardless of the result, what was going to happen, for sure it's up there. But I mean, I think under the circumstances, like you said, and under the fact that of how big the occasion was, and the fact that how we came out when we were down, it makes it very special, because I think we played our best tennis when we were expected to lose. I think even our opponents expected us to kind of go away, and we didn't, and I think that's what makes it a great battle. In terms of tennis, sure, I mean, I think we played a pretty good match. I mean, I thought we played a much better matches in the previous rounds, but also the opponents were different, so but on the times that it mattered, that was the best tennis that we could produce, and we did.
Where would you rank it? I mean, that's what I meant. I mean, in your wins that you've had in your career,
well, I mean,
singles, doubles, where would you rank this?
No, it's going to be up there. It's fortunately, I think I should feel honored that I can actually say I can't count how many great moments I've had in my life.
That's always a good thing.
Yes, it's a good problem to have, and yeah, I've had many great memories and great moments of victory, and even loss, but great matches. And
you know, it's so surreal, isn't it? Because we mentioned about, life coming full circle for you. It's not just because you're winning the women's doubles in the seniors category at Wimbledon, but also because now this is your 4th slam. You have won each at all Grand Slams, and you wanted that women's doubles Grand Slam. So, a lot of boxes have been ticked. And it's so surreal that you're actually doing this with Martina Hingis, somebody who was already winning Grand Slams when you were a young child starting out, and people used to compare you with her and at least, taunt you with her name. It's so surreal that life comes at this point, isn't it?
No, it is, and I think this is why I can't, stop saying how much I talk about belief and wanting to do things and dreaming and not being scared of dreaming, because I feel that even if you're ridiculed, I mean, the greatest of people in this world were ridiculed for their ideas when they said what they wanted to achieve or do, and they have gone down as history as being the greatest men or women in the world. And I just feel that, if you truly do believe, and I mean, obviously rationally thinking, if you do have the talent and you do feel that, you can go that way, so we're like, oh, thank God we're on the same side of the net now. Yeah. So no, but she's achieved so much in her life, and I do think that especially the tournament of when I was going to get to #1 in Charleston, funnily enough, she also got to #1 for the first time in Charleston. And she told me that after I became #1, actually. She didn't tell me the whole week, but that week too, I think she helped me a lot to, the way to deal with emotions, because I think she went through it exactly at the same place, 20 years ago. So yeah, I think it's amazing for me to do it with her.
How would you summarize this achievement
today? And we as a family, sure, we won this title together, but I also think that I want to share this with the rest of the country, because we've not had any woman do this before.
I was going to come to that. You're used to this, to the adulation you receive. You've been doing it for 12 years now since this journey started in 2003 at Wimbledon. But still, when you know, win a big title and you come back home, does it hit you every time, the adulation you receive? Even today, obviously, social media is so active, so you can actually see it 2 hours later, after the win.
No, it's great. I mean, you know, who doesn't like to be praised, and no matter what they do, right? You always, whether it's the way you look or whether it's what your profession is. But I think that the fact that, you know, the Honorable Prime Minister tweets to you or the President tweets to you, I mean, it makes a huge difference. I think it really does inspire, and not just me, I think it'll inspire other people too, other kids, saying that, you know, one day I can have that. I can have the Prime Minister congratulate me for something. I mean, it was amazing that the Prime Minister congratulated Sumit Nagal, I mean, for instance, right? It's amazing for a 16-year-old or 17-year-old to have that. And thanks to social media, we do have that today. But when I came back last night, honestly, at 3 in the morning, I thought, you know, I mean, there'll be a few cameras, and it was packed. Like, there were so many people. And
it never ceases to amaze you, isn't it? I mean, by now you should be used to it.
No, I know, but there was also, I mean, one of my best friends came out. I didn't know he was coming. He just came, and, you know, I've known him for years and years.
I think this is the same best friend who also tweeted that the only surface left to conquer is the moon.
No, that's the other best friend. So 3 of us, we are like, they're 2 brothers to me, actually. So one of them came out, and the other one, he wrote on my Facebook wall.
Yeah.
He actually even messaged me that. He didn't congratulate me. He said, wow, the only thing you have to do now is go to the moon and win there. So, no, and it's great. It's great when you come back. But, I mean, the amount of people that were there last night at 3 in the morning was amazing. I mean, it was so many people, and everyone trying to get a picture or whatever it is and be a part of it. And sure, I mean, unfortunately, I can't, you know, literally personally share it with everyone, but I do want to share this with the entire country, because I think this is very special for the country.
And of course, you dedicated this trophy for the girl child. You know, we've heard you talk about how you want more and more children, and of course, girls to believe and achieve whatever they want to go out and achieve. You mentioned Sumit Nagal. You know, it's so nice to have a weekend of sport like this, where we had 3 different winners in 3 different categories, ranging from 42 years of age to 17 years of age. There were 3 different generations winning doubles titles.
No, it really is, and I think that it's amazing because, you know, not just winning 3 titles in the same week, but also that happening to be Wimbledon is, I think, very special.
Very special.
I don't think, correct me if I'm not, I don't know who has won a junior Wimbledon since I won it in 2003. I don't think so.
We had Yuki win the Australian.
He won the Australian, yes. So I think that it's amazing, right? I mean, it's for families and for kids, and how much goes into it to stay away from your kid for the last, I think he's been living in Spain for like 5 years or something. So.
He hasn't actually come back after his win. He's still in Frankfurt.
Yeah, probably. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, but this is tennis. Believe it or not, before we finished Wimbledon, another tournament had already started in Europe. And this is the life of a tennis player. That's why when people ask me about my future plans, I really don't know, because week after week, you know, we have to come back on the hard, and this is all forgotten. It's not like an, you know, an event that happens every 4 years or something. This happens week after week grind, and we got to peak week after week, and before we know it, US Open will be here, and we'll be gunning for New York.
Of course, you will be gunning for that title as well. How does it feel to be in a position where you're in contention for both titles, the mixed and the women's doubles, in any Grand Slam you would play?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, but it's also, I mean, I always say this, I think that it's a privilege to be the hunted, you know, and we are the hunted.
And you work hard to get there.
You work very hard to get there, and you know exactly how it feels to hunt someone, because you've been doing it, and now you're in those people's shoes, where so everyone that we play against, we have to be ready that they're going to play their best tennis, because they have nothing to lose, and it's a privilege to be hunted. I mean, it's great that you have to come out with your A game. I think that's what makes Serena such an amazing champion, for being there for that long. You know, Novak or Roger or, you know, Rafa even. I mean, I think that's what makes you amazing champions, is how you deal with after being the hunted, and we've been the hunted for a bit now, and yeah, and I'm glad that we're continuing, and hopefully we can keep doing this.
But finally, you know, keeping that #1 ranking, we've all heard, you know, great stars talk about it. In any sport, it's the hardest thing to do, isn't it? To get to #1 is one thing, but to be there, you've already had, you know, quite a decent run at #1, and with this title, you've cemented your place even further. Is that, something consciously you want to do? You want to, extend your reign
I mean,
as number
sure,
one?
I want to be number one as long as possible. It'll be silly for me to say no, I'm not thinking about it. Of course not. I mean, I do want to be number one for as long as I can be, and I think it's been about 3 months now, if I'm not wrong, that I've been number one, and I could have almost lost it right after Wimbledon, maybe a week after Wimbledon, if we didn't win Wimbledon, or the other teams went deeper. So, I mean, I think it's great that we did win. I think the pressure was
putting any pressure on you?
I mean, that's not the worst thing that can happen to me. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not going to change who I am or what I've achieved if I become number 2 in the world. But as a tennis player, the competitive spirit in me and that hunger in me will always want me to be number 1, because I'm just a very competitive person. Even if I'm playing goatees, like I want to be number 1 at it. That's just who I am, and that's what. So sure, I would love to be as long as I can and stay there.
We wish you all the best for the US Open and of course for the year-end championships, a title that you would be defending, and it's so nice to see you and Martina play together, and of course your mixed doubles is also going strong. We wish you a very, very later half of the 2015 year. Thank you so much.